Hello.
Hi, guys.
Welcome to today's live. I'm Tiff. I'm Tiff.
And I'm Jack. We're so glad to be here with you today. Thank you for joining us on the Energized Empath live show with Tiff and Jack.
I was going to say lab because we were saying it day after
we were
day.
doing the Energized Empath lab and it was fantastic. But this is the live show
that we do every week, just
every
for
week.
you.
We're so glad that you're here. If you give permission to StreamYard to see your name, then we get to see your name too. One of you just said hello to us. Hello. We don't know your name, but that's okay. But we'd like to if it feels resonant with you. Hi, Deanne. Tell us, everyone just like pop in where you're joining us from. It's always fun to see where everyone's coming from. A little bit about Tiff and myself. Our main focus is helping you, the overworked empath, truly, utterly, and completely kick that overwhelm to the curb and get fast, measurable relief so that you can enjoy so much more abundance in relationships and money and health and all the things that feel good to us. And not only that, that you can align with your true empath self.
Yeah, that's a nice thing to be able to do.
And that's why today we're talking about the shadow side of the empath. Now, I don't know about you, but you may think that you shouldn't have a shadow side because you're an empath. But hey, we all have a shadow side, so we're going to talk about it.
Yeah, there's an opposite with everything.
Jennifer Holbrook, right? Wow. Hi, Jennifer.
Hey, Jen, how are you?
So awesome, Laurie, Leona. We're so glad that you're here, Salt Lake City, McCullough.
Is it Michaela, McCullough, or Michaela? What is it? Because I want to say it right, my friend.
Yeah.
I'm thinking it's probably Michaela. And it's just spelled different than what you would usually spell Michaela. So let me know if that's right.
It's probably Michaela. Yeah, that probably is it. Just let us know. We'll get it taken care of. We're so glad to be here with you today. It's going to be a fantastic day here. We're just coming from Salt Lake City, Utah, in the middle of a really beautiful day. I don't know why I always feel moved to talk about the weather because I'm looking out the window.
Because you're such a nature person.
I love the
and
outside.
we live in a city that feels like a wilderness, and the city's like 2 minutes down the street.
Like a forest.
But we have big pine trees and aspens and what are the big ones in our yard? Like the ones that a couple of them blew over these ones.
I don't know the name of those.
They're gorgeous.
They're really big and beautiful. Hi, Teresa from Layton, Utah. Jennifer, we're so glad you're here from across the country. Amazing. Very cool.
So glad to see y'all. So let's talk about the shadow side. A lot of people are like, what in the hell is the shadow side anyway? The shadow side of us is just our ego. There you have it.
EGO.
It's the part of us that tells us all kinds of silly things about us that are not true. And I want to talk about some of the common shadow sides of the empath because they're important to know. And then we're going to talk about some of the solutions to these pains in the butts.
Definitely talk about the pains in the butts.
That's what we're going to call them, the pains in the butts. Okay. So the number one, it's not the number one, but it is number one here.
It could be your number one. We'll see.
Okay. You can, as an empath, if you're in this part of your shadow, you can overly blame yourself for things that are not your fault. So why in the world would we do this, right?
I could say a million reasons why an empath would blame themselves for things that are not their fault. Because you're feeling and sensing the feelings of everyone. And so you recognize it very, very quickly. And because you're a caring person and want that other person to feel better, it could be very, very easy for you to take it on as being your fault.
Yep. And sometimes you may just take the blame just to keep the peace. I mean, there's a million reasons you could do this. How many of you have taken the blame when it wasn't your fault? I'd like to know. And how do you stop doing that anyway? While you're commenting, let's talk about how to stop doing it. And one of the best ways to do that is to really ask yourself the question, is this really my fault? Because you'll be able to tell if it's your fault. Sometimes you may not know, and then you'll want to get clarity from the other people involved or whatever, and take accountability for sure if something is out of alignment with you. But if you're taking blame, and it's not your fault and you know it and you do it anyway, that's a very self-defeating thing, and it can really, really knock you down in your self-confidence and self-love. And so if you ask yourself the question, is this really my fault? Then you have to accept that it isn't your fault. And if you don't, you can keep taking the blame, but then you just feel like crap, right? I mean, how does it feel when you take the blame for something that's not your fault? That doesn't feel very good, but you think you might feel better because everyone else around you will feel better because they don't have to be accountable. But man, it's not a good idea. So you have to really ask yourself the question, is this my fault? And if it isn't, don't accept the blame.
Terry said, I stopped that a long time ago.
Good job, Terry.
Laurie said, it makes so much sense. I did that in my marriage. Another user said, I do often.
Yeah.
Leona, yep. Luann, yep. Teresa, totally. Yep.
Yep. It happens.
Sometimes it feels easier than the battle to take the blame.
Right. But what ends up happening really is that you start feeling less and less confident, less and less self-love. You just start feeling really bad about yourself. It's a self-defeating thing, and it's not good for you. So I'm giving you permission to not take the blame. Okay, number 2, you forget about self-care. Now, why do you think that happens? What do you think?
Well, this is funny. It sounds like we're talking about codependency, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what this is.
Right? That's a happy word. So the second one was you forget about self-care. And this is the shadow side of being an empath.
Mm-hmm.
Because you get so focused. You're so loving, kind, and altruistic, wanting to help people and to make a positive difference, that we adopt this belief that, well, if I just do more, or I've got to be there, because if I'm not there, then they're not going to be okay. So you put yourself on the side burner so that everyone else around you is comfortable. So then you can feel like, you've got everything taken care of.
Yeah. And as empaths, sometimes we can get so focused on taking care of others, we forget about the self. And when that happens, we get tired, drained, and sick, and usually end up in bed with either depression or some sort of fibromyalgia flare-up, IBS, all kinds of physical symptoms pop up when we don't do self-care. And so Jack and I today are giving you permission for self-care. For you to do self-care, you have to get really clear on what you want. And this can be a foreign concept to empaths, to figure out what they want, because they're so used to figuring out what other people want.
Okay, so here's a real-time example of this. So it was, I think, yesterday. I have a really big to-do list ongoing. I never get everything done on my to-do list in a day, but I give it my best shot. Well, I was especially tired, didn't get as much sleep as I wanted or needed the night before. And so I was going in, I'd have 2 more clients for the evening. It was, I had a little window of time that I could get a few more things marked off of my to-do list, or I could do a hypnosis, do one of my hypnosises, because that gives me the most bang for my buck. Like, I can do a 20-minute hypnosis and feel like I've just had 4 hours of deep REM sleep. So it's the perfect answer when maybe I didn't get enough sleep and I need to have the energy to do all the things I want to do. Well, I sat down and I looked at the clock. I saw I had just enough time to get like 2 things done, and I could do the hypnosis. And I thought, well, I'll just get these things done really quick on my to-do list, and then I'll do my hypnosis. And then I just had the clearest knowing that I was doing it backwards. What I really needed to do was do the hypnosis and then do whatever else I could when I was done with the hypnosis. But that was a perfect example of me putting my needs aside, right? The thing that I needed for my body, my mind, and my energy, putting that aside to get more of my to-do list done.
Right.
Which is also for me, but when it will have a direct impact, like self-care, something that you're doing to care, literally care for yourself, not to get your to-do list done, not to get this or that done, but something that helps you feel cared for by you.
Mm-hmm.
And that you're at the top of your priority list instead of constantly being put aside. put on the side burner. Who was it that said, putting the side? Jennifer said, I find I do that a lot in my role as a parent.
Yeah, that's a tricky one.
Really tricky, especially as a parent. And even in the conversation with one of our clients today, as a parent of young kids, it is so tricky. You find yourself doing so much because as babies, you do everything for them. And then you have to start stepping aside and putting yourself first. And the most powerful thing you can do as a parent or somebody that's caring for young children is to model for them what healthy self-care looks like, because then you're creating a structure that they identify with and they believe that that's for them too. If they see you constantly putting aside, you are literally modeling for them a codependent way of being, right? Or putting yourself off, not caring about yourself enough to tend to your energy, which is exactly what you want for them. You want them to do that. You want them to take care of themselves in good ways. But this is a great opportunity for all of us.
Yeah. And sometimes we're afraid if we put ourselves first so that our cup is full so that we can give well, that we will be perceived as selfish. And we may have been called selfish as children. I mean, all children are pretty self-centered because they don't have to care for others. But the word selfish is a big, nasty word to the empath because we want to help. We want to heal. We want to share and experience joy with other people. So we have this story in our head that it's like, oh, if I take care of myself first so that I have enough energy to actually do those things, I'll be perceived as selfish and it's not good. And sometimes you are even conditioned by parents or religion or community that forget yourself and just focus on others. And it doesn't work well, especially for the empath, because it's so draining and then we become ill. And so, like I said, Jack and I are giving you permission today to really work on self-care. Do things that rejuvenate and revitalize and lift you so that you have energy to do all the tasks in the day that you are doing. It's not that we're saying don't do any of the things.
You'll always serve.
Yeah.
It's in your blood. You love to help people. All we're saying is we've got to get you at the top of that equation so you actually have the energy to do the things that feel good to you in the ways you want to give. It's absolutely critical for you to put yourself in the equation, being radically self-aware. What do I need? What does my body, mind, and energy and spirit need right now? In this moment.
So I'd like to ask all of you, what do you need right now at this moment for yourself? When you get off this call or this show, what do you feel like you need at this moment? And it might be hard to answer. You don't have to answer, but let's just think about it. What do you need? I know that I need some time with my grandbaby. So she's coming over at 2:30 today. And I need to sit out in my backyard in all my beautiful flowers and plants. That's what I need. What do you need?
Yeah, I feel like what I need is to have this connective time with Tiff. And then when we wrap it up, have some time to just sit out in our beautiful yard that we just got all put together last weekend and just be outside together, talking, connecting. And then I need to get back to work so that I can finish out my Thursday so we can have the best date day and weekend of our lives.
That's awesome.
And I know that if I will get the things done that are pressing so that they're done and ready for Monday morning, that's what I need so that I can create, the weekend time together that will feel really refreshing, because we've been pushing really, really hard the last couple of weeks. And it's time for us to have some lovers getaway time. So that we can have the balance. And that's also part of our self-care and our relationship self-care.
So, aquatic massage. Lisa Cozens is like to be held. I love that one. Victoria, I need to get some bag work done and process some limiting beliefs that I have coming up. Absolutely. A hot shower, going into nature, a walk on the beach. The sunset. I love this, you guys. Good job. You're doing really great thinking about yourself.
And really getting clear, right? What do you need? Not what do I need to be doing so I'm healthy or I'm this or I'm that. It's like, no, what does your body, spirit, and energy need in this moment?
Yeah, being in the backyard with my plants. right?
Mm-hmm.
These are things that will revitalize you, that will give you energy to be well. You are here to be well and happy, not just to give. Okay. Okay, let's move to number 3. We have 8 things to get through, and we could talk about just one thing for an entire hour. Excuse me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Number 3, you forget about your, number 3, you try to make others happy while sacrificing self. And this kind of goes in the self-care thing, but it's like, oh, I'll do whatever it is you need just so you're happy, even if I don't feel happy. How many of you have done that before? That's a tricky one. So why do we do that? Well, oftentimes we want others to be happy because we can feel their emotions and we don't want to feel the negative emotion.
That really is such a deal.
And that's not really talked about too much in the empath world. It's like, oh, if I can make sure they're happy, then they're going to feel happy. And that means I'll also feel good because I don't want to absorb their negativity. So I will put off what it is that would make me feel happy naturally for myself to make them happy. And then they'll be happy with me and with themselves. Right? Right? See, you guys know what I'm talking about. Absolutely. So I'm giving you permission to focus on the things that make you feel happy. So what makes you feel happy? And first of all, you have to define what happiness means for you. Okay? It's different for everyone. And sometimes we get to the point where we're like, I don't really know what makes me feel happy. Other people make me feel happy, but that's not real. Some people can do things that, enliven us and are exciting, but for long-term happiness, we have to find those things that make us feel happy inside. And happy is a place of fulfillment, right? I think we talked about that a little bit last time. So what are the things that fulfill you and give you a sense of well-being? That's typically what happiness is for people. And so I just want you to think about that right now. If you want to share on the strand, what makes you feel happy for yourself, not relying on anyone else to give you anything, just to feel happy for yourself.
What is that for you?
For me,
Mm-hmm.
oh, so many things make me feel happy. I really love the feeling of peace and quiet and connecting with people on a deep level and connecting with my surroundings. My having deep connection with my husband and conversations, learning conversations where we're talking about things that really matter. I really love creating beautiful food and giving it to the people that I love or enjoying it myself. I love to go to wine vineyards and do things so I can connect with the plants and also connect with the spiritual essence of wine. Like I could go on and on and on and on about this. And so fitting those things in my life, and not sacrificing those things so someone else feels better. Yeah, I don't do that because that doesn't work. It doesn't work for them. It doesn't work for me. And then I feel like, oh, I just feel terrible. Why don't I feel better after making someone feel happy? So I want you to start thinking about the things that make you feel happy. And we're giving you permission to do those things.
Lots of being in nature, swimming, quiet.
Yeah.
Connecting with loved ones, people connection, my passions, no pressure, being free, nature, most definitely, rock hounding, being with someone that enjoys my company.
Great.
Yeah.
Being with your pets.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Definitely.
You guys are doing a great job in this call. I appreciate you sharing because it gives other people ideas of what's possible.
Weeding. I love that.
I love that too.
That.
And that is very clearing for your energy to weed. Mm-hmm. It's really awesome.
Oh, yeah. Mother Nature is a big one. It's beautiful. Taking my time.
Me too, Luann. I am a timer.
Taking your time to do whatever.
I don't like to rush at all. I feel very unhappy when I'm rushing. So I appreciate that.
That's kind of what I've started doing with my to-do list. I'm like, well, I'll get done what I get done and it'll be there tomorrow.
The universe is pretty awesome at rescuing because we're not the rescuers.
I know, thank God. Vacuuming.
Nice.
Weeding.
Good.
Come over for a little visit. We'll let you be happy all day long here in our house.
Okay, number 4, you second guess your choices. How many of you have done that? Where you make a decision and you act on it and then you're like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have done that. And you'll just ruminate over that like, oh, I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done that.
Yeah, there are no accidents.
Typically, when you are doing that, it's because you're worried about what someone else thinks about your choice. And we can get into a big trouble because I can promise you, my friends, every time you make a decision, there will be at least one person that doesn't agree with your decision. And you just have to know that's okay. Not everybody is here to experience your choices, like no one else but you. So making decisions for what works best for you is not going to work for everyone, and that is normal. So I'm letting you know that's normal, and it's okay if someone doesn't support one of your choices. Does that make sense? We're giving you permission to choose for yourself and be okay with other people not being necessarily thrilled about it. My goodness, we would never be here on this call today if we would have made all our choices based on what other people wanted us to do.
Yeah.
Woo!
Yeah, there was a time when I was making a very big decision about releasing the religion that I was brought up in. And the person that I was talking to, I said, I have to follow my heart. I have to do what feels right and makes me happy. And this person said to me, what if we all did that? Like, that's a bad thing. Like, I thought to myself, well, that would be an amazing world. Because if we were all living true to our heart, God, we'd all be happy.
We'd probably have a world of peace.
We probably would.
Yeah. Okay, number 5, you have good intuition, but you don't allow yourself to trust it.
Ooh,
how many of you
have
biggie. Experienced that? Excuse me.
Not trusting your own intuition.
Yeah, you've got good intuition, but you're like, I better not trust it. One of the biggest reasons that we found with our clients over the years is the fear of making a mistake. What if it's not the right decision? What if my intuition is wrong? Well, the question is, so what if it is?
Exactly.
You're here to learn through trial and error. And sometimes your intuition is going to be spot on. And other times you're going to be so wrong, it'll shock you. And it doesn't mean something's wrong with your intuition. It just means you're learning how to work with your intuition. And the only way to do that is by practice, right? There have been times, I spent my life using my intuitive gifts, doing healings and all kinds of different sessions. And there have been times that I have been wrong. And one thing I always tell people is I am not God. So if there's something that I say that doesn't resonate in your gut, follow your gut. I'm here to assist you. And the most important thing you can do is follow your own intuition. I know that I am not a perfect person. I'm really good at what I do, and I've gotten really good through trial and error, but I had to be willing to be wrong sometimes.
Yeah, and that's how you build your intuition muscles. Like the quicker you act on your intuition, the stronger those muscles get to where it becomes so easy.
Yeah.
When you first are doing that and you're really working towards trusting yourself more and more and more, it's going to feel super uncomfortable. Everything we want is outside of our comfort zone. Everything.
And someone had and I think the question is, what if the consequence is scary? Sometimes the consequences are scary, but nothing is really what it looks like. So sometimes you're going to make a decision and it's going to turn out absolutely disastrous. And you're going to be like,
what did I do?
Why did I do this? I can never trust myself again. But as you'll find out, life keeps moving forward and things work themselves out every time. If you're on this call right now and breathing right now, it worked itself out.
Yeah, it did.
Right? You have to be willing to take risks because every single thing you want in your life that you don't have right now is outside of your comfort zone.
So you will feel uncomfortable for
Absolutely.
a minute. But then your comfort zone grows. As you continue to choose, and even though it feels uncomfortable and a little scary, your comfort zone gets bigger. And then suddenly you feel super fine and normal. Then you're going to make another decision that's going to stretch you out of your comfort zone. And then it's going to grow.
Right.
And it's going to grow. And it's going to grow.
Yep. Oh, the goddamn comfort zone. Getting out of it. I'm like, no, let me go back. Let me go back. I totally relate because I just love to be comfortable. I think most empaths love to be comfortable because we have so much discomfort in other things. We're like, let's get in our fluffy beds with our fluffy blankets and our fluffy pillows and our fluffy pets and be comfy. So it's important for you to have some comforts. Go back into your comfort zone for a minute, but always know that if whatever you want that you don't have right now is outside of it. And it's okay. Because once you get it, you'll be comfortable again for a minute until you want something new. Okay. This is just the human condition, but you can do this. And Belinda said, thank you for saying, who cares if you're wrong? I really do mean that. And I'm not minimizing the feeling of being wrong or doing something wrong or making a mistake. But what I'm saying is it's not detrimental to be wrong. It's not detrimental to be wrong. It's okay to be wrong. We're not meant to be right all the time. Otherwise, we'd learn nothing, right?
Nada.
Yes. Okay. Let's see. Where are we?
I really quick about being wrong or having something, making a decision and not trusting your intuition. And looks like a scary consequence. Honestly, just like reframe it into where is the opportunity in this? Everything is just a reframe. Everything
Totally.
has an opportunity
Such
in
a great
it for
point.
us. Oh, Michaela, it is Michaela. She let us know. Michaela says, I'm way too comfortable in my comfort zone. Good job on recognizing that.
Me too, sister.
Good job on recognizing that. Now you get the exciting prospect of what is it that you want for yourself right now in your life that you don't have. Take action towards it. It's going to be scary. It's going to push you out of your comfort zone, but do it. And then your comfort zone will expand, and then just keep going for your dreams. Taking action is so critical.
Okay, my sweet friends, I really love this topic actually, and I love reading all of your responses.
It's nice, isn't it?
Beautiful. Thank you for doing that. Number 6, you bottle up feelings, and then you start to feel bad. So one thing that many shadow parts of the empath is that they don't know what their feelings are because they bottle them up. They push them down, and they're like, I don't know what I feel. Everything's fine. And then you're kind of dissociated. Yeah. It's like, no, I can't really get in touch with my feelings. What are my feelings? And you could have come from a family where feelings were unacceptable, or if you did have feelings, you were minimized or criticized for them. Mm-hmm. And so you learned how to pretend you don't have any and shove them down. And then what happens to us? We start feeling depression. We start feeling anxiety. We start feeling physically ill with all kinds of things, especially digestive problems. And then we become afraid of speaking up. And then we be quiet. And then we take it and take it and take it until we lash out. Right. And either that comes out in aggressive where you're lashing out, or you're being passive aggressive. And then you have to, it's like, well, I don't know how to ask for what I need because I don't know what I feel. So I can get a little manipulative to see if I can get what I want out of life because no one else is giving it to me. That's kind of the trail it takes. Mm-hmm. And it's a big one. So this is why it's so important to feel your feelings. You and I have had so many conversations about this. About feeling feelings. I'm such a feeler. Ooh, sometimes I'm so sick of my feelings, I can hardly stand it, but I'm so grateful to have my feelings. For instance, we had to put our dog down 8 days ago, and she's been our family companion for 12, 13 years. And I've been very close with her the whole time. I was allergic to her, so I couldn't touch her as much as I wanted to, and she couldn't get on the furniture. So, we had an interesting dynamic, that dog and I. Jax has his own experience with it, but when we had to put her down, I am having so many more feelings than I thought. And I woke up in the middle of the night last night and just had a breakdown and cried for probably 4 hours because I was so devastated. And I had no idea I had all those feelings. And it's not comfortable to feel those feelings. I was worried. I'm like, I don't want to wake up Jack and stress him out. He needs to sleep because the night before he didn't get his sleep, and I was thinking, I don't want to, this is so weird for me to feel this way. And I just had to allow my feelings to be what they are. And sometimes it's not comfortable to feel because we think, we'll never get out of it. And there were periods of time in the middle of the night, I'm like, I wonder if I'll ever feel like my normal self again, because this feels so terrible. But of course, I know that's just my brain playing a trick on me. But we don't want to feel because we feel so deeply that it feels impossible to get out of it sometimes. But I promise you, if you'll allow yourself to feel your feelings and know that your feelings are okay, they don't have to be positive all the time. People are so worried about having positive feelings because they don't want anyone else to be uncomfortable. They don't want someone to feel like they're a burden because they have all these feelings. And also, if you work within the law of attraction, we have this terrible fear that we are going to attract bad things if we have negative feelings. And I want to share something with you really quick because this will help you. The negative vibration of the vibration of the negative feelings is much slower in a movement towards manifesting than the positive. So you have space and time to feel so you can release those feelings and get back into alignment with the truth of who you are. So don't be afraid to feel your feelings. They will actually make you feel better if you feel them. Your brain is biologically constructed so that when you feel your feelings, your unconscious mind goes to work to help you create solutions. So stuffing does not help you at all. It makes you feel sick and depressed and anxious. But if you'll feel your feelings, cry, even write down on a piece of paper how mad you are. Go ahead and share about that.
So Michaela, where you're saying that you go completely numb because I don't want to feel anything or burden others with my problems is something I struggle with daily due to being shut down as a child. So this is absolutely critical for you to find a place to start feeling those feelings, because you shutting down, that also shuts you down to the joy. Okay. Not just from the pain that you don't want to feel, or you're trying not, you've always had to shut down. You choosing to stay awake and open, go for a walk and just start speaking your feelings out loud to yourself. That's one way to recognize and feel them. If you don't feel like there's a safe space for someone else, for you to share your feelings and to have your feelings cherished there, you are your first best friend. And so have those feelings come out, recognize them, speak to them, express them quietly if you feel like you don't want anyone to hear, or get in the car and go for a drive and let it all just come out. Mm-hmm. This is a practice. And again, you'll build those muscles. That ability will get stronger and better, and it will keep you healthier, happier, and more abundant in your life.
Yep.
By moving these, by staying open, staying connected. And that keeps you in the flow of the universe and the abundance that's wanting to come in and through you right now.
And, it will also keep you out of a lot of physical pain, a lot. So we're giving you permission to feel your feelings. Okay.
I struggle with having negative feelings. I try so hard to stay positive.
Yeah, most people do, especially empaths.
Yeah, that puts you,
Yeah. And it's okay to be positive when you feel positive, but when you're trying to be positive because you don't feel positive, it's inauthentic. And then the energy is really strange. Like, people can feel it. So it's like, if you feel bad, take some time out. Go be by yourself. Yep. Write in your notebook and rip up your feelings when you're done, or go and cry and allow yourself to feel. It doesn't mean anything bad about you if you have ugly feelings. Sometimes feelings are just ugly. There's no preventing it. No matter how much inner work you do, no matter how much positivity you project, there will be times when you have feelings of anger and of sadness and of grief and of hatred and of all kinds of things. That's just the human condition. And to really embrace that side of us, to say, oh, okay, it's okay that I feel this way, and it's not going to last, and I'm going to feel it so I can actually release it.
This is the truth. Just play with it. If you're somebody that's been shutting down just start working with it. You'll see a difference in how you feel. You will feel better, and you will realize how quickly they move. Are you looking at the cute one about Lisa said, I used to pretend I was looking for something under my bed as a kid and lip sync swear words. That's awesome. I'm going to start doing that too. I'm like, Tiff's like, Jack, what are you doing looking under the bed? Nothing. Just think I lost something.
That is probably the most adorable thing I have ever heard in my life. Thank you for sharing that. That just delighted me so much.
Sweet. So cute.
Okay, number 7. Part of the shadow side of being an empath can be that you do things that others want so they don't get upset. How many of you have done that? Like, everybody. I don't even think you have to be an empath when you do that sometimes. So you'll do something that someone else wants, even if you're uncomfortable, just so they don't get upset, so you don't have to deal with that. That's another big, big self-defeater. And you have to recognize that when you self-defeat, you are going against the self, which you'll lose confidence, you'll lose joy and happiness. You can feel very depressed. Self-defeat is probably one of the most harmful things that we do as empaths in behalf of others. And let me tell you, my friends, most people don't really want you to do something if you don't want to do it. It's a way of living inauthentically to yourself and to the person, and it interrupts with the connection that you have. So even if there's something that you don't want to do, maybe with your spouse or your friend or your parent, and it's like, I really don't want to do that, and this has nothing to do with me not wanting to do something that makes you feel happy, it just doesn't resonate with me, and I would be going against myself if I did that. So I'm choosing not to do that, but just know that I love you. It's a great way to manage it. And we kind of have to pull up our big britches and make really empowered decisions for ourselves to live the empath advantage and to have that experience of being an empowered empath. Every time you self-defeat, you knock yourself down a little bit more. And we're here today to give you permission and kind of shed light on some of the shadow side that we can find ourselves getting lost in, that we're like, oh, and now you can see all of you are sitting here going, oh my gosh, I totally do that. So you're not alone in this. This is no secret. This is just awareness. So once you have awareness, then you have a power of choice. Without the awareness, you just go along in your patterns and just keep on doing it. And you don't know why you feel so crappy. Right? So this is really, really important.
Are you at the last one?
I will be.
Because I want to come back to Michaela's question, how do you get out of being in the shadow of the empath side? So let's cover that, circle back when you're done with all of them.
Well, I'll just tell you right now, awareness of your shadow is how you can make decisions to not live in the shadow side.
Yeah. And
right?
The thought, even the thought, this is where I want to challenge the thought, I'm stuck.
Oh, yeah.
Right? That is just a limiting belief that's telling you you're stuck and you can't get out. That's just a thought, like any other thought. So I'm opening up more and more to the truth of me every day. Like just pick one little workaround that flips it in the positive direction. It doesn't have to say, I live as an empowered empath every day. No, you're going to be like, oh yeah, what the fuck? That's not true. So all you have to do is identify just a little workaround. It's like, you know what? I'm not stuck here because now I see. Now that I see, I'm going in the direction that serves me better.
Right.
And it's just challenge that stuck thought. You're not stuck.
All a belief is a thought that you buy into and that you think over and over and over again. You can change your thoughts. Your brain is plastic, like it's neuroplasticity. It can change and mold. They used to believe that you couldn't change the way that you think, and oh my goodness, can you change?
Boy,
you can change your whole life just by changing your thoughts. So, Heather Drury said something, and can you go back? She had said something about let's see. She didn't like my end. So Heather, I'm not. Okay. I lived pleasing my mom for years, and then she didn't like my empath self. She saw it as weak. And so Heather, having the person that's supposed to accept you feel like you're weak, you'll have an innate belief about yourself that you're weak. And so you'll spend your life doing things that will prove your strength. But once you get rid of the deep belief in the unconscious mind that says, I'm weak, then you'll be able to see your strength clearly, which you may be seeing right now. I know you've done a lot of your own personal work, and you're also here helping other people do their work. And once you get rid of that, you don't have to prove your strength anymore. And it depends on how you do that. It's completely up to you. We all are here to prove to ourselves, to remember who we really are. So it comes out in our behaviors. So that's why doing your inner work is so important, and to have awareness with your shadow side so you can take a look and go, oh, this is what I've been doing, and I don't have to do this anymore.
And I have to laugh, Kristen. Kristen said, I asked my husband to suck it up and do the things I want him to, whether he wants to or not.
I say that sometimes.
And then she has a grinny face and a face palm.
Sometimes I say to Jack, I'm like, could you just do what I say just because I say it?
Only if it's in alignment with me.
That's right. I have to respect that.
Oh God, that's funny. So funny.
Okay, the last one, number 8. You can get stuck in overthinking things. Like you'll just think it over and over. It's like this record going over and over, and you get the spiral of thought coming down, and it can throw you into such intense drain and fatigue and physical pain and self-doubt. So why do we overthink things? It's because we have a problem trusting ourselves, either because
that's true, isn't it?
yeah, either it's because typically it's like, oh, I've done all these things that people don't like. So I made a mistake, because we think that everyone should be happy with us all the time. Or we could have used our intuition. It didn't turn out the way we thought it was supposed to. We're very, very conditioned to see things a certain way before they happen. And then when our stories or our pictures don't turn out the way we think they're supposed to, we're like, oh, something's terribly wrong. When really everything's working out for our best and highest good. It's just not the way we thought it would. I mean, the universe comes in, and that universal energy comes in and shakes things up, rearranges details. And it's like, wow, that came through in a really interesting way. But it's this self-trust thing that we have a problem with. We doubt ourselves and we think, oh, we can't trust ourselves. So then what happens? We overthink and overthink and overthink, and we drive ourselves crazy with it. Right? So
There's an answer.
there is an answer. Do you want to talk about the answer?
Yeah. The answer is to focus on what you want rather than, oh no, what about this? And what about this? It's like, no, this is what I want. And in the focusing on what you want, in that moment, you lean into the universe and your angels, knowing that they hear you, that you're asking and thanking them for their assistance, for the assistance of the universe in your behalf to bring this into you, or this feeling into you, or this event or experience, or whatever it is that you want, rather than being lost in the spin down to hell.
And it is a spin down to hell, folks. You know it.
Overthinking yourself to death.
Oh.
And you just put a stop in it. You're like, this is what I want. Then you see yourself throwing it out to your angels and the universe and letting go of how it's coming into you. You have to let go of how.
Yep.
Because if you're holding on to the how, you're trying to be the universe, and that's going to get in your way every time.
Yeah. So if you're in your spiraling thoughts, which we've all done, I still do on occasion. Oh, I can't stand it. I can always tell when it's going, because I just start feeling worse and worse and worse. And I'm like, no, 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 no. And Jack is so good, because he's a pro at this. And he's like, babe, what do you want? And I'm like, oh yeah. Great idea. Duh. Yeah.
It's the death spiral to hell.
Yeah, it is the death spiral. That's what we call it here in the house.
And it picks up speed, and it gets bigger, and it goes faster. It's like, shake it up. Pull out. Pull up.
Babe, what do you want? And I'm like, well, I'm thinking about something.
I'm thinking about what I don't want right now.
Yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So you're overthinking when you're in that pattern of the death spiral of thought. You're thinking about the things you're afraid you can't have. You're thinking about the things you don't want. And that never helps, like ever. And all the things that we're thinking about typically don't even happen. So it's like, why don't we just change it a little bit and think about the things that we do want? Now, I'm not saying you're going to remember to do this every time, but if you make a commitment to yourself right now, and we're giving you permission to think about what you want, you'll probably see something from Tiff and Jack online that'll remind you when you're in your spiral thinking. Okay. We're always here. We're always here whispering in your ears about what to do as an empath. So there you have it, my friends. The eight, not the eight, but 8 parts of the empath that can happen from the shadow side. There's many, but we thought we would focus on some of the most common. And we're not going to overload you either. So take 1 or 2 of these and just work on it. When you feel like, I'm doing really good at this, look at your notebook again and look at that one.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yes.
You're not here to be perfect. Nope. Practice makes better. And that's as good as it gets.
That's enough.
And it's enough.
Yeah, it is. And we would like to make the invitation to our Connected Empath Facebook group. If you're joining us from YouTube or Tiff's personal page or my personal page, come on over. If you're an empath and some of what we just shared here today helped you, and join us in the Connected Empath Facebook group. And
invite your friends if you know they're empaths.
Yeah, bring them on.
Bring them over.
Yeah.
It's a great place to have daily support and to see mine and Jack's mug yapping about something.
Mm-hmm. And we will be here every week around this time. We're getting it dialed in. We thought it was 1. I sent out an email. If you read our email and you're like, Jack lied. He said they'd be on at 1 and it was 1.
Yeah, and I thought it was in 1:30 because I go by
No,
my
1:30.
calendar.
Well, 1:30 is what it was supposed to be.
Yeah.
But I just got a little
I'm like, it's in the
confused.
calendar at 1:30. And you're like, your mascara's not on. I was like, well, it's a quarter to 1. He goes, we got to be on at 1. So we came on at 1:15.
Mm-hmm.
It was in the middle.
Yes.
It'll be at 1:30.
Yeah, 1:30. I've got it now. So thank you for joining us. It's such a delight to see your faces scrolling through as you are sharing your comments, sharing with the group. It's a lot more fun doing all of this with you.
Yep.
So thank you. We'll be back next week.
See ya.
Have a really great day.
Bye-bye.
Bye.